Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Tastes just like I would. It's even better than when I was drunk.
Yeah. Can taste it a little bit better.
All right. Welcome back to Talks Off Melrose. This is I'm Drew.
Jeremy.
This is what, week 7, week 8?
I think week 8.
Week 8. Week 8. Yeah, week 8 college, week 7 NFL. I was getting this mixed up. We got a lot to cover today.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the beer first? Because it's delicious.
Yeah. So we've got here a Festweizen, which is from Dovetail Brewing here in Chicago. It is kind of like a...
We talked about it last week a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot
it might have been 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I think it might have been last week. Regardless. To reiterate, geez.
The banana bread.
Yeah. So it's like Dovetail. It's like a combination of a Fest beer, which we've been drinking on here, like the Oktoberfest beer, and then a Hefeweizen. So they pretty much just took a Hefeweizen and was just like, let's just make it a little bit lighter in taste and have like a lighter finish to it, but still have that banana-y flavor.
Yeah, it's very good. it's like the banana up front and like the bready finish, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good.
No, it is very good. I actually had this for my, I think I talked about this on my beer channel for my engagement video that I did at Dovetail. And then I actually had one of these, what is today? Tuesday? I had one of these Sunday at Dovetail's Oktoberfest. So I've been having a lot of these recently, and they are delicious.
Yeah, I assume they're limited time, right?
I think they're just like around this time.
Yeah, might have to stock up a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean they're just at the regular liquor store. Like, you know, we were looking for it before, and we didn't know.
Yeah, I texted you and I was like, "There's a little tiny liquor store down the street from my house," and I was like, "What are the chances you think they would have?" Because you stopped there before.
Yeah, I
the
stopped there
Rutgers
once,
game.
and I was like, "They have some stuff, but also a lot of it was cold." So
also, like they're redoing their whole stock, and so like you probably could see most of the coolers were empty because it's like I don't know what they've been redoing their stock for like a year now though, so I don't know what they're doing. But
yeah, no, I was like, all right, on the way here, there's like a big liquor store, so I was like, I'll check in there, and they had literally every single Dovetail beer, which is awesome because it's like one of my favorite breweries.
I might have to stock up. I got about 30 Hawktoberfests in there that I got last time I was in Iowa. I've still got some citrus servers that I stocked up from the summer. I just find a beer I like and I just load up on it.
Yeah.
That's why there's about 50 Coors in there still.
See, that's like the opposite of me, but like I should do it more your way where like I feel like I spend way too much money on like beer that I'm going to try, which is the fun of it for me. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't like, not half of it. I don't like, let's say 20% of it.
Yes.
Because I'm trying new things, which is, you know, the fun of it. But at the same time, I'm like, damn, like that's like $8 for that beer that I like. It's okay.
I was very much like that in college, but ever since I've developed my beer allergy, I like I can only drink 2 a night. So like I don't have time to fuck around with ones I don't know I like. I'm like I just want to drink what I like, and then because I got to switch off of it after I have like 2 of them.
Yeah, I'm starting. The more I try, especially because I'm like trying so many, the more like now I'm like, okay, well I see one that I actually recognize and I like at the store, I'll get it. Because I'm like, well, I've tried a lot of these other ones already, so I'm like kind of getting to that point where I don't know if that's a bad thing that I've just drank that much beer, but
it's fine. It's just beer.
Just beer. Same thing as just drinking a Busch Lights. You know?
I mean, it's not like you're going
Maybe
home
more
and
calories.
drinking just a straight bottle of whiskey every night.
That's true. Oh, this is more calories.
It could be worse. That's true. That is true.
I like it for the flavor, okay?
All right. Well, we probably shouldn't dick around too much here because we got a lot to cover this week. First and foremost, the news that everyone's already heard, but we're going to get into a little bit because it is very relevant to us this week. James Franklin fired at Penn State after, is it 12 years, I want to say?
Yeah, something around there.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it's been that long.
Yeah,
too.
it doesn't feel like it's been that long.
No.
Fun fact, this is the first coach that Penn State has ever fired for on-field performance. The only other coach they've ever fired is Joe Paterno for a very different reason.
Yeah,
that's never been fired for on-field performance. He was very much like Kirk Ferentz status. He would have never been fired for on-field performance. They would have let him retire there.
Yeah,
but
I mean, this is like it's the definition of like how the tides can change. Like,
shocking!
Like what 3 weeks ago?
Yeah. Okay. I have the whole timeline in here.
Yeah. Let's go.
So the timeline of James Franklin's the end of his Penn State career, going back, what is this? 8 months to January of last year. 7 games ago, if you want to go by that metric, Penn State loses by a field goal to Notre Dame in the college football playoff semifinal. I think it's 24-27.
Yeah.
A field goal away from making the college football playoff final.
Did they win the Big Ten championship at Oregon?
No,
I forget
Oregon
that game.
Won. Oregon
okay,
won. Yes,
I couldn't remember because I was like that game went into overtime as well.
But
right?
they won the 2 playoff games because they didn't win the championship. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they had the easier path. On paper, they had the easier path.
They beat Boise State and SMU, and then lost to Notre Dame by a field goal. Go into this season, preseason number 3 or preseason number 2.
I think it was 2.
I guess we have it in here, don't we? In week 2, they were ranked number 2. So yeah, I don't know what their preseason rank was, but week 2 they were ranked number 2.
Yeah. I mean, they had guys stay, like come back.
They had most of their team stayed.
Yeah.
A couple of games against Cupcakes. Then we get into 2 weeks ago, September 27th. Ranked number 2 in the country, national championship favorites at that point.
Yeah.
Lose a double overtime game to then number 8, now number 3 Oregon. Literally just, it's a toss-up game. It's double overtime, and we talked about it that week. It was literally just a bad pick at the bad time. They had to pick the play before, and it just, sometimes those don't go your way.
I get it that they lost, again, like we just said, they lost to them in the Big Ten championship. It seems like, there's this consistent of them, James Franklin losing like the big games.
He can't win the big games is the narrative, yeah.
But you're still in such a good spot. Like even after that Oregon, it's going to hurt, but you have to believe with one, like I'm saying this before the rest of the stuff we're going to get into, obviously. But
yes. Talking specifically on September 28th.
Yes, if I'm September 28th, a Penn State fan, I'm like, all right, that sucks. That's frustrating. But, we still have the rest of the season to go.
Exactly. And then the rest of the season happens.
Like,
we go into last week, October 4th, and they lose to 0-4 UCLA, 42-37, which we talked about pretty extensively last week.
Yeah.
So we won't dwell on that too much. Then going into this week, Sunday, October 11th, they lose to Northwestern at home, 22-20.
I was dumbfounded when I found that out
because I watched that game.
I was working.
Yeah.
So the only game that I tried to I was working the Blackhawks game at the same time I could go into. That's a whole other story about how the Hawks NHL scheduling needs to figure it the fuck out. But I was only really paying attention to the Iowa game so that, because it's Iowa, but I went in and I think it was during one of the intermissions I was working. So I was kind of out of the loop for 30 minutes. I come back and someone was just like, dude, you see Penn State lost. And I was like, they must have been playing a different team. I was like, I thought they were playing Northwestern, but it must have been a different team.
Yeah.
And then I saw it was Northwestern. I was like, oh my God.
And Northwestern doesn't look bad this year. They look pretty good. But at the end of the day, it's still Northwestern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They weren't very good. They were bad last year.
And it was at home. It was at Penn State. I just had that in the corner of my quad box all day. And then as it kept getting later and later, I was like, holy fuck, they might actually lose this game. Yeah. First team in 30 years to lose back-to-back games as 20+ point favorites.
That is crazy.
I couldn't figure out who it was, the team to do that before them, but I saw that stat everywhere. So if somebody got it wrong, it wasn't me initially.
Yeah.
So
what's crazy is that UCLA, obviously losing to an 0-4 team is inexcusable in the position that they're in. UCLA looks very good.
Yeah, we can talk about real quick. UCLA this week also beat, I think about the scoring here down lower. They beat Michigan State 38-13. They beat Michigan State this week.
Yeah, they're looking a lot better.
Yes. So they look arguably good.
Yes.
Fun fact on that, Neuheisel, the OC that we talked about, the 4 games before he was the OC, the play caller, they scored 57 points. In the 2 games that he's been calling plays, they've scored 80 points.
That's great. This guy's a phenom.
Absolutely wild.
He's a phenom.
They look good. They're 0-2 in the Big Ten. They could feasibly, it's a long shot, but they could go undefeated in the Big Ten, make the Big Ten championship, win, and get an auto bid to the playoffs.
Imagine they do that
with an 0-4 start, losing
but imagine that happens and Penn State looks back and all right, well, we had a loss to Northwestern, but on paper that's it. Oregon and UCLA, they make it. They
the
both
finals,
make it
Oregon, UCLA in the championship.
And Penn State's just scratching their head damn, maybe it wasn't just.
Might have jumped the gun on that
one. Northwestern has a solid year.
Oh yeah. Northwestern's a bubble team.
Yeah. Which would also mean that Iowa loses to both of them, but
that's true. That
true. Would be a funny scenario at the end.
Well, we
don't
play Northwestern, do we?
I feel like we always do.
I don't think we do this year.
Oh.
Penn State, Minnesota, Oregon, USC, Michigan State, Nebraska left.
Wow. As someone who grew up in Evanston and obviously we live in Chicago now. Like that's always like been the like, oh, like
Yeah,
we can
I mean,
at
we
least
play
like
them always.
we can
yeah.
always guarantee that like, you know, at least like every other year, like they're
They'll be
in
in
Chicago
town,
and in Evanston.
Yeah, it kind of sucks because it is really easy to just go up to that game.
Yeah. And Iowa
still got them in basketball.
Yeah. But Iowa being like the most, what do they call it? Like secure games or most rivalry games that they like.
Yeah,
they're protected games
with 3.
Yeah, so I wouldn't even want Northwestern as a protected game.
Oh,
like,
absolutely not.
That just does suck for like where we live and stuff. Because that would be so nice.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is nice when they are here, which I think we probably still play them fairly often.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go from week by week, month by month here, get into hour by hour. So Saturday, October 11th, they lose to Northwestern. That game ends around 6:30 p.m. Central Time. The next day, Sunday, October 12th, at 11 a.m., it's reported that legitimate conversations about Franklin's future at Penn State were being held. And I think a lot of people took those reports and they were like, okay, like that's fair. They should probably be having the discussions.
At least throw it out there so the fans can be like, yeah, at least they're like, you know, making it seem like
at least we're talking about it.
Yeah.
And then an hour and a half later at 12:57 p.m., it was reported that Franklin has been fired. So they were short discussions.
Do you think they must have been thinking about that after the UCLA game then? Like they must have been, which is kind of crazy.
It had to have been on your mind.
Yeah. Like again, I know they were 0-4 and people were saying that's the worst loss in Penn State's history. I think it won't look like that in a few weeks. Like I think UCLA is
looks better than
they look a lot better. And I know we just said that, but I do think that's like gonna look like a better loss. It's still a loss, and if you want to be a national champion, which they wanted to this year, it's an unexcusable loss. But I think that means that they were talking about it after the UCLA game, which is kind of crazy.
So his buyout, he's now owed over $49 million by the university. And so you have to think also part of those legitimate discussions are, holy shit, that's a lot of money. And you also have to think that the donors came in and said, we want him gone and we'll pay you that money.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the university just pulls the trigger on that without that money.
They must have been, honestly, it must have been like
it's had to have been
the bills.
Some high rollers were like, we want him out.
Yeah, we 50 million is nothing for us. Like he's fine.
Fun fact, is the second largest buyout in college football history. Obviously dwarfed by $77 million to Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, which is just nearly double.
That's crazy.
It is an unachievable number.
The best job you can possibly get in this world
fired.
is being a fired football coach.
Yeah. After Franklin, the third highest. So before Franklin, we had Jimbo Fisher at $77.5 million, and then Gus Mahon from Auburn, $21.4 million.
Oh, is that the guy? He's the offensive coordinator at Florida State now. Gus
I think so.
Malzahn?
Yeah. So that is 4 times Jimbo Fisher is 4 times higher than that payout, which was the top 2 previously before. Now it's half because obviously Franklin's double that. And then other than that, it's just a couple of other around 14-15 million. The highest payout that there could be today, Kirby Smart currently has a $105 million buyout, which is fucking wild. But you'd think that you feel pretty scary about that.
Yeah.
And then Ryan Day is 70.9.
Which is funny because people were talking about Ryan Day being fired before they won.
Year.
Like after literally that was so funny.
Was a big point of discussion during those was how big his buyout is.
They're like, oh, we lost to Michigan. He's got to go. And then you win the national championship.
Yeah, which is another thing going back to Penn State is like people were having that conversation about Ryan Day last year and they were like, this is it. He's done. And then they gave him a few more weeks and he won a national championship.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of crazy to cut Franklin at this point.
I know this is Iowa fans talking about like job security for a coach. So
that's true. Take it with a grain of salt.
Because I know like any of like the Penn State or Ohio State or even Michigan fans that I know would be like, oh well, we have a higher expectation, and I'm like, this is my thing to Penn State specifically. Who gave you that expectation?
Well,
after the shit show that Pitino left them in.
Yeah.
Franklin was the one who brought them back up and brought them back to having those expectations of national championship. Mm-hmm. So that's my only thing about yes, he didn't really win the big games, but he had y'all at the top and y'all saw what it was. There was quite,
it was rough for
it could have gotten very bad for them after what happened. It could have gotten very bad.
I mean, okay, so it still could. So we said 12:57 is when it was reported that he'd been fired. At 2:01 p.m., 1 hour later, 5-star Keeman Spell decommits from Penn State. He was the highest rated running back in the 2027 class.
I don't blame him after watching how poorly they've utilized their 2 NFL caliber running backs.
Yeah. Everything happened ungodly fast.
Yeah.
I feel 12 hours, bad. Everything changed.
I do feel bad for my Penn State fans.
Yeah.
I haven't even texted like one of my good friend, a few of my good friends, who I worked with out in Connecticut, like a lot of Penn State fans over there, and I haven't even texted them about it. I'm like, I wouldn't want to be texted about this.
Just
like,
leave them a little time to mourn. Yeah.
Like, oh damn, man, like I feel really bad. It's like, yeah, like I would. You should feel bad.
So Franklin ends his tenure at Penn State tied with Rip Eagle on the all-time wins list at Penn State too, which I think is very funny because he tied him in week 3 against Villanova, and it was like at that point it was like a surefire thing that he would take the record. I don't think it's the record. I think Paterno has the record, but he would like overtake him the next week at UCLA. And then obviously that happened, and then Northwestern happened, and he loses his job, and he will end tied, which is crazy. Just another example of how fast things turn.
Yeah. I just can't imagine being a fan. Like I just mentioned that, but like I can't imagine being a fan. Literally within weeks, your whole world, your whole like completely. Sports like world, just you go from turned upside down.
Thinking you're going to win a national championship or having a shot at one, to not having a coach.
Your lowest, I think. Like I'd have to talk to like my Penn State fans once they like calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
But like I bet you that went into this year being like the floor right now is making the playoffs. Yeah. That's a floor.
Absolutely.
And now this, like, I do feel bad.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's already shortlisted replacements, led by Nebraska's Matt Rule. He went to Penn State.
That'd be hilarious to Nebraska.
It would be. He was asked about it in his press conference this week, obviously, and he did not deny it. But why would you? Because you could probably get more money out of Nebraska at the very least.
He's finally having a better year.
Yeah, this is phenomenal negotiating opportunity for him at the very least.
Oh yeah.
And then I saw some people had this guy as the favorite. A lot of people had him as after Matt Rule, but is Joe Brady, who's the Bills OC, which I don't know. He might have Penn State ties, I guess, but
okay. Yeah, I don't know too much. I mean, obviously the Bills have phenomenal offense.
Yeah. And then Fran Brown, Syracuse next, and then obviously Singeti 600.
He is not. There's no reason Singeti should ever would leave. Like,
there's also no reason why that shouldn't be your first call, though.
Oh no, I think that
should be your first
that is their first phone call.
Yeah,
and I cannot see a world that he leaves. He's done he's been there 2 seasons and he's already a legend.
Yeah, but imagine the amount of money you get out of Penn State though.
Oh, he'd get so much money, but I'm like, you're top 5 in the country right now, and you just beat Oregon at Oregon.
Yeah,
maybe you take this call.
At the end of the day, Indiana. We talked about this a while ago with Matt Campbell going to Oklahoma State, where at the end of the day, Oklahoma State is not that much better of a program in terms of longevity and NIL than you kind of get at Iowa State. I think the difference here is Indiana to Penn State is the amount of resources at your disposal are way different.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's a big jump in resources.
Yeah, I just think Indiana would have to have a Penn State-like collapse this year for Cignetti to be like, okay, I'll listen.
Yeah, but I also think if you are Cignetti, it's like, can you keep this up permanently? Can you have this kind of sustained success at Indiana? Whereas going to Penn State, maybe you'll have a little bit more trouble some seasons, but long-term success, you're going to have a lot more sustained success.
I just wonder if Cignetti's always done it with kind of smaller programs.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if he's I know the formula at a smaller school.
Yeah.
A lot of times you see these coaches try to make that step
and they can't.
And they can't because, it's a completely different game.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Indiana, no pressure. Even right now,
that's true.
No pressure.
Yeah.
You are a top 5 team in the nation. There's no pressure.
Someone said there was somebody in the thread on Reddit when I was reading about it. They were like, the thing is about Indiana is if you're Cignetti, it's 8 wins a year gets you a statue at Indiana, most likely. And then somebody was like, or somebody said, they said 9 wins a year, and they were like, we'll probably get you a statue at Indiana. And then the top response was an Indiana fan who was like, 8 wins a year guarantees you a statue. Not 9, maybe 8 guarantees it.
No, I think he gets a statue after this year.
I think if he goes to Penn State, they build him a statue.
Yeah, no, literally, he could take him to the second round of the playoffs and lose, and they'd still build him a statue.
Yeah. He could announce tomorrow that he's going to finish out the year at Indiana, but then move to Penn State, and they'll be like, all right, well, we already put the money down for the statue.
Yeah.
So the down payment's already out there. We already got the loan out from the bank.
And this isn't shitting on Indiana. It's just that's how good of a job he's done.
Yes. And
at
how
Indiana.
bad Indiana used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. it's just such a major turnaround.
I've seen the turnaround from again, one of my best friends, he's went to Indiana fan.
Mm-hmm.
That was when Michael Penix Jr. was there. I think I've mentioned that before I went to the game. And Iowa killed them. But then I remember he was like, this is the only time I've ever cared about
Been
like
excited
Indiana
about Indiana
football,
football.
and it wasn't even like a good year. Now it's like on another level because they've always just been basketball.
Completely.
And he's like,
now it's not like a decent team. It's like a national championship potential team.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
And Iowa should have beaten them.
Yeah, we should have. We'll get into that in a second, actually. We'll probably get into that when we get into the Penn State game.
Yeah. Do you know
Real quick, rest on the short list. Bill O'Brien.
Actually, but
yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were about to go to the next thing.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Bill O'Brien, Lane Kiffin, and then Matt Campbell plus 1,000, obviously. Which, like we talked about, Oklahoma State, Iowa State is not a big jump. Iowa State to Penn State would be a big jump. I could see him having more interest in this job than he would in Oklahoma State job. I just don't think he's high enough off the list where it's going to get to it.
Yeah. So this was what I was talking to some people at work about this. What do you think about Pat Fitzgerald?
Yeah, I saw some people mentioning that too, and they were like, I think it's a really bad look with what happened at Penn State not that long ago to bring in a coach who just got fired for a hazing scandal.
That's a good point.
I think you just have to. Yeah, I think you just have to. Even if you think that would be the best coach that you're going to get, I think you have to swallow the bullet and say we can't. The optics are not going to work for that one.
I just wonder, like, kind of taking that aside, do you think he's a big enough name that it wouldn't like disappoint like Penn State fans? Because I think he's a big name. I think he would be a very good coach for them. I think he would. I don't think he's a big enough name after you fire. Like,
I think he has to come back and be in a coordinator or an assistant somewhere for a few years before he can get back in like charge. You know.
That's true. I mean, he's still young.
Yeah. I like not to be like, oh, he can make up for everything he did, or to say that, oh, he should never be allowed to come back again. Because at the end of the day, I didn't read that much about that. I just heard there's something that I knew happened, but I don't know the facts or the details.
Yeah.
But like, just purely from an optics perspective, like you kind of have to do your time. And he's been out of the game for a few years now, and I think now you have to come back as a coordinator in some capacity before you can get back into a head coaching role.
Which I think he will. I think he'll be back. I think he'll be a head coach for
or a coach at a small school.
Yeah, and then come back. I mean, what? Fucking, did I say Patino earlier? I meant Paterno.
I don't know, which I
because what I was thinking of who's the, one of the best, I can literally see his face. He's like one of the best basketball coaches of all time, and he got fired for some type of like misconduct, and then he just went to a small school, and they brought him to like the tournament last year, and then he played his old school.
I have no idea.
Rick Pitino, that's it. Yeah, him.
Oh, yeah, he's a dick.
Yeah.
He just looks like a dick.
Yeah, because it just popped in my head. I'm like, wait, I think I said Patino for the Penn State guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
That guy just got a scumbag face. I put it in here just because I thought it was very funny. There were a few people between Matt Campbell and this guy, but he was a little farther down the list. But John Gruden's plus 2,000, which I think is hilarious.
You're talking about the Barstool guy?
Yeah. Yeah. Barstool legend John Gruden is going to be the new coach. Yeah, we'll talk more about this when we get into our like Penn State preview. We just wanted to start the podcast off with this because obviously it's huge news and it's very relevant to us this week.
Yeah.
But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the game this week, the Wisconsin game, which honestly, I feel like I had a lot to say about before the whole Penn State stuff happened. Very good game. It went very well.
Again, I tried to watch it the best I could, but I had to work. So
yeah, we talked last week about like if Iowa blows out Wisconsin, would they fire Fickell? No, in no world did I think that this week Fickell would still have a job and James Franklin would not. That's crazy.
It is crazy to think. I literally did not think about that. What, like, they're playing Northwestern? Like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And also on top of that, how is Fickell still? How does he have his job still? How?
I agree. I don't understand why he's. I'm shocked they didn't fire him this week. Like, especially with James Franklin out there as a coach that Wisconsin could go after.
Yeah.
Do I think James Franklin goes to Wisconsin? No, but I think if you're Wisconsin, you have to fire Fickell and do your due diligence of trying to get him. The same thing with Penn State and Singeti is it's like you got to try.
Yeah.
Like this is your best opportunity. You got to give it a shot.
But yeah, 37-0 and somehow Fickell's still around. It was like their first time getting shut out at home since like the 1980s.
That's wild. I didn't see that stat. That's insane. It went
I feel bad.
Very bad in a lot of ways for Wisconsin. And it started pre-game there was a pre-game unsportsmanlike penalty where I'll put this video in the link dump. It's crazy. I was just coming out of the tunnel and one of those Wisconsin players like runs over to us like coming out of the tunnel and just like gets in people's faces. And they're Like the players, it doesn't look like they were like John at him first or even John back and forth.
Just went and
They're all
did
just kind of like, oh, like what do you oh, hello, what are you doing here? And he's like in their face and like, dude, what? Like they look genuinely confused about it. So they started off with a 15-yard penalty, kicked off from the 20.
Yeah, how are you going to do that and lose 37-0?
Yeah. Very true.
Dude, Fickles definitely had like checked out. Like,
yeah.
Like, I bet you that player didn't get any type of like, I don't even know who the player was, but I bet you went out there, played first rep, like it seemed like all the Wisconsin people were like all like disrespectful towards Iowa. And I'm like, I didn't get it. Like, I know this is like a rivalry.
I was going to say something along the same lines of that. I think that since Wisconsin's gotten worse, this game has become more of a rivalry. There's a lot more hatred and bitterness in this game than I feel like there ever used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be a game that I felt like it was like two teams that were like, one of you is going to win the West, and there was a respect.
Almost like, there's a respect there.
And now it's getting a little chippy, and I kind of like it.
I kind of like it, and it's also like, all right, like Wisconsin, like they're like, oh, like almost punching up. They're like, oh, like wait, we should be where you are.
Yeah, it's very true.
And it's like they're getting like frustrated. They're like, oh, like y'all shouldn't have beat us by like, what did was it their coach that said like, oh, like you've never who's
it was a player who's like who's ever heard of Iowa scoring 42 or whatever. Yeah.
And then he went and scored 37.
Yeah. Which
y'all didn't score 0.
Fair enough to him. I saw somebody put in the Reddit thread, they're like, hey, congrats Wisconsin, you only had to do 37 push-ups this year. And I replied and I was like, this is actually 40 chest because we're gonna make them do a few less push-ups every year and they'll slowly get weaker and weaker. Yeah, but I feel like Wisconsin used to be a game where you're like, yeah, like I respect Wisconsin, and now it's kind of like, okay, fuck you too, Wisconsin, and it's kind of
talk shit. Yeah, you're gonna talk shit. We'll talk shit. We'll just beat you 37-0. Like
that's true. It's fun when we're winning.
Yeah. It would be the opposite if we lost 37-0.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Which the one thing I can say, I know like, we lost probably by that much to like Michigan in the Big Ten championship or whatever. Iowa would never go out against another unranked team and just lose 37-0
at home.
Yeah, at home.
At home.
Yeah,
that's the big part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cassidy, her sister went to Wisconsin, so they came home and they went up to that game this weekend, and I texted Cassidy in like the first quarter or whatever, and I was like, do you guys have a bet going? And she was like, no, in fact my sister tried to start one where she said whoever loses the game, they get $100 from the other. I responded and I was like, glad she knows her place.
Well, I saw like the Barstool like Wisconsin, like
they were like shit talking earlier in the week.
No, they were like shit talking, but at the same time they were like, but we do suck.
Yeah, I
like,
saw
they kept being like, oh, like, because I think like the just like any week, like the Iowa Barstool thing was like,
yeah, they always just
talking shit, and then they're like, talking shit back, but they're like, but you're right, we are gonna lose.
I heard him say something about like they looked like shit and like they lost this game and stuff, but like maybe they could turn it around and do this to like beat Penn State. And they put in parentheses and they're like, and yes, I am looking past Iowa because that's a free win or something. And then the Iowa Barstool quoted that like after the game and like did some kind of shit talking. I think they said like, how's rock bottom? And then the Wisconsin was like, hey, it's only up from here. Which is I thought was very funny. Yeah. That's fair play. So before the game, it is announced Jeremy Hecklinski was QB2, Hank Brown QB3. We talked about that a little last week. I don't know if there's like an injury there or what
that's
the deal
surprising
is,
with just as we said last week, like how highly they thought of Hank Brown.
Yes.
So.
Another thing about that, Gronowski looked, you could tell in this game that he wasn't 100%.
Yeah, I literally saw like one rollout.
Yeah, and you could see clearly he was wincing.
Like, yeah.
There was the one he rollout where he went out of bounds and he runs like a good 15 yards out of bounds slowing down. And I'm like, okay, that's clearly the same kind of thing that's bothering him, which is why at the end of that game, I was like, why the fuck is Gronowski still in this game? Like we're up 32, 34 points or whatever. And like, they're still putting him out there. And at one point it was like a 3rd and 1 and we're up by 30 something points. And they had a designed run with Gronowski out to the outside to get the first down. I was like, he shouldn't be in the game. No. Why are we doing a designed run with him? And I
didn't see that.
It almost makes me worried that they actually have like worries with Hank Brown. And that's why Hecklinski is the number 2. And also why none of them went in at the end.
I just don't understand how you're that confident to throw him in there. I know they had to, but like you throw him in there against Indiana. And like have him throw like they threw him like I know like he had to,
but I mean this coming week then like you're not taking reps with the ones when you're the backup quarterback, and then this week that he had to, and maybe they saw him go up against with the ones and be like, okay, maybe he's not what we thought he was going to be at least fair. Right now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't have to look at it. We talked about this last week. I don't know how to look at it. Like, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
Yeah, especially with like a Brown went out in the Indiana game and he looked not amazing.
Yeah.
And you didn't really see either of them play this week. There's just no way to know at this point.
Yeah.
Like You just at this point, it's
talking about
cross
practice.
Gronowski's good to go.
Yeah. Well, I did see like I don't know if we have this a little bit later, but I did see Gronowski like talked and was just like, yeah, like I'm feeling a lot. He even said he feeling a lot better than he did like after the game. Like he feels a lot better now.
Which clearly like he's still able to run. They were still okay running him. So like I'm not super worried about it. It was just like at a certain point, the game is in hand.
Yeah. I mean, he only had 107 passing yards, but he's still accurate, 17 for 24. That's
it wasn't a lot of
good.
passing yards. I will also say his touchdown should have been Aaron Gray's touchdown on that pick, which was such a good pick. Did you see that play?
Oh, yes, I did actually see that play.
He just came through the line, grabbed it, and I can't.
That was such a bad
They called him down on like the half-yard line. I saw somebody in the game thread was like, they should just put him in at fullback and let him get it. And I was like, absolutely should.
I bet you if it was they're a little bit more out of the like. I bet
it was still early in the game. Yeah.
I can't believe the Wisconsin QB threw that. Like
he was right there. He was right there. I had Gronowski anytime touchdown score, and they called him down at the half-yard line. And I was like, even as somebody holding this bet, I wish he got that touchdown because like he deserved that touchdown.
Dude, he was running down. He ran he ran like 60 yards. Or
it was 30. It was like 35. I think.
Okay. Seemed longer for a bigger guy.
Or you know what? 35 yards. Yeah, 35-yard return.
Seemed more.
Yeah, I mean, he just came right through the line. He was right there. I think he was shocked the ball hit him. But yeah, going into the defense a little bit because of that. So fun fact, we blitzed on 30% of the dropbacks. Both the interceptions came on a 4-man rush though, which both of them by defensive linemen. One of them and like a straight up pick by Aaron Graves, and then the other was off of a tip ball. I forget who caught that one. Bryce Hawthorne caught that one. It was off of a tip ball.
Okay.
And it was a sky ball that he grabbed and came up with. Then they were both pretty early in the game. They might have both in the first quarter actually.
Punt, interception, punt, fumble.
Yeah. Yeah, and the fumble was very big for us because it was right after the interception that we threw. And
yeah,
so
I think it was like literally it was the second play after they fumbled it. Did you see the interception?
Which one?
The Gronowski one.
Yeah.
So I didn't see that one. I saw the fumble. He
just kind of threw it into double coverage, and it almost looked like a kind of thing where it, like, again with that injury, almost like he just didn't have the strength to get it there. Like he just didn't have the plant foot to get it there.
It
was not a good throw.
Fine
it was
now.
a bad throw.
Yeah,
it was not.
I know
a good
he's fine now, but I'm like the fact that he was hurting playing against a team like Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Like,
if you can get in there and play and win the game like he did, that's fine. I just think when you're winning by that much, you got to pull him early.
Yeah,
he didn't need to play the second half of the game.
No, he didn't. But hey, it's whatever. I mean, he's fine. He wasn't injured after the game. Like it is hindsight.
And we luckily didn't have to rely on him too much because our rushing just absolutely dominated.
Yeah.
And that's without him, who's normally one of our leading rushers.
Yeah.
4 carries for 9 yards for him, and 210 total on 36 carries.
And we were talking about last week about, is Wisconsin's,
How
Wisconsin had a top
defense?
5 rush defense, and we didn't know if that was, who they played or
how good
or if they were actually
are.
that good. And it turns out that it was just who they played.
Either that or they just have given up.
Or Iowa has just that good of a
maybe our O-line is that good.
Which I think they are.
Yeah. There was a stat where it was Moulton, he was only hit at the line on like 20% of his rushes, which means that like the O-line they blocked for him. Specifically Jennings Dunker. His blocking was absolutely insane. I don't know if I put it. Yeah, I did put it in here. Right inside, 4 carries for 38 yards. Right outside, 15 carries for 100 yards.
Jesus.
So 19 carries for 138 yards on Dunker's side. Average of about 8 yards a carry between the two.
Jeez. I mean, every time I looked up from the Blackhawks game, I saw the Iowa game, it was just like them running around.
Yeah.
Like I even like I thought. I was surprised at this stat line with McNeil being 9 for 40 because his like 24-yard rush looked so good.
Yes, very good.
Like just his footwork was phenomenal.
Play him as much because Moulton was playing phenomenally, and at the end of the day, he is a freshman. And you don't want him to like fumble.
Yeah, I just was surprised at the 4.4 average because I was like, I was like, I think that there was like a few that I saw.
Yeah,
like that first one was a smooth play.
Yeah,
like, he hit the defender like with the little like double step. I was like, dude, that footwork was smooth.
Yeah, no, he looked great. Moulton looked even better. 15 carries, 96 yards, and a touchdown. Xavier Williams had 2 touchdowns. I didn't even know. I don't even remember one of them. 7 carries, 55 yards.
He had one of the last ones. I know. At least if
was this his first game back from injury?
To be honest,
I think so, because they said he'd be up past the bye week. Also, Vanderzee back this week, had a couple of good catches.
Yeah, I think he had 4 catches.
He looks like he's going to be pretty good. I don't know if I put the passing in here, but I got the box score up.
Yeah, I think I looked at that, and he had the second most, at least yards on passing. Yeah, he had 3 for 29.
Sam Phillips 1 for 14 yards.
I mean, our passing was spread out, just not a lot of yardage.
Which I think, again, at the end of the day, it was only 107 yards, only 24 attempts, and we were running the ball well, so we didn't need to.
Yeah, didn't need to.
And if you can, the thing is too, like you get against a better team and you can keep running the ball like that, it's going to open up your passing a lot too.
I did not realize that Wisconsin had only 8 completions.
Yeah, it was very bad. The defense,
he was 8 for 21. Jesus,
yes.
Good shit, Iowa defense.
So kind of in the same vein, that part of the reason we had so many rushing and so few passing is because in the second half you're just trying to burn the clock. You're not passing anymore. You're just handing the ball off. And in that same vein though, like second half of the game, we kind of stopped blitzing because it was like, let's just, let's end this game.
Yeah,
there's no reason to keep sending them. And like secondary held up. Like we've been blitzing a lot this year because the secondary has not been as good, but like I know Wisconsin sucks. I know that they were completely demoralized, but like they still did their job.
Yeah. Hey, it's still a Big Ten team there that, they got Big Ten talent.
Big Ten light. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm very happy with how the game went. I like it. You couldn't ask for much
again,
more.
like I was kind of halfly watching because of work, and I still like I was so confident the whole time. Like I think so the Cubs game was also going on, and I almost like in the second half stopped watching the Iowa game because I'm like, hey, that's good. That is
and the Cubs
firm.
game is still interesting.
And the Cubs, I'm like, hey, it's game 5. I'm stressing, and I'm still trying to, I'm working the Hawks game where I need to actually like come up with like ideas throughout the game, so I have to pay attention to the game. And literally, also like the New Jersey Devils are playing, which is my second NHL team.
So, a lot going on at once.
So literally, like my producer was just like, oh, like I don't think I've ever seen Jeremy this distracted for a game because usually I'm like locked in for the Blackhawks, and I'm like, well, I got my other Hawks playing, I got the Cubs playing, I got the Devils playing. Why is the NHL playing on a Saturday night
early in the season?
Yeah, this early in the season. I'm like, you got college football in a game, and the Blackhawks specifically playing on the same day that the Cubs are playing.
That's
game
true.
5
That's a really good point.
Which I mean, they don't know that, but still, they could have maybe flexed the time a little bit.
Yeah, 37 points, good defense, 3 turnovers, 2 picks, and a fumble. I have a screenshot. I'll put this link up. I'll put the link to the video too. I would posted a video of it's like a slow motion of the fumble recovery, and Kirk's right in front of the fumble, and he's pointing at the ball, and I just got this perfect. This is going immediately in my reactions folder. This is going on Twitter one day for something.
I love the passion.
It's so funny that
Kirk's
he's pointing
like,
at this football.
Right there.
And I look, the little Wisconsin logo is like facing the camera perfectly on the football too. It's such a good pick.
I just love because it's like, what else in that situation would you do? Then just be like, it's right there. Get it. But it's like the head
right
coach.
In front of him. It is right in front of him. There's also a great video of the Iowa players at the start of the fourth quarter doing jump around on the other sideline.
I didn't see that until you posted that. That's
awesome. The stadium
awesome.
itself is so demoralized, and they're just bouncing around on the sideline. It's very good. It's like there's a lot to say about this game because it went so well. There's also, at the end of the day, not a lot to say about it because it went exactly how you wanted it to go.
Yeah. Like I was a little worried just going in. I'm like, oh, is this a trap game? Like, I thought it would be closer than this. I really did.
I did too.
And I did not.
I'm very happy with the result.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of basketball news. Not great news to start with. Deion Banks charged with public intox this weekend.
I feel like so far in this podcast have like been like, oh, Pat Fitzgerald, what he did's fine. Tavon Banks, what he did's fine. But like this is getting blown out of proportion. Like the New York Times posted about this.
Did they really?
They did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they did something about it today. They
got an article about it today with the reunion staff apparently Saturday night around 1:15 a.m. Maybe he was pumped about the basketball game or the football game.
Yeah, he was pumped about the football game. A little drunk. Who hasn't been there in college?
Yeah, especially like you've been going to Drake. I used to live near Drake. There's not a lot going on around Drake. There's stuff going on if you get outside of Drake. It's not like a college area though. It's not like imagine taking a kid out of Drake like that, putting him in Iowa City. You're gonna get a little out of control.
My mom went to Drake and her sister went to Iowa.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, yeah, no, I just visited my sister.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's nothing to do.
You put a Drake kid in Iowa City and they're going to get a little drunk. I'm sorry. It's just going to happen.
And yeah, I don't know how bad it was, but I think it's been blown out of proportion.
He was arrested. He was charged with public intox. I'm sure he'll get like a few game suspension.
And he's probably what? He was I think he was 6th man
keep in mind also, like, some of those guys graduated. He probably would have been a starter this year at Drake still.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to be a big role on the team still, I think.
Sorry, I see this. I see that flying around for a second. I thought it was one of the wasps.
More positive note for basketball, new uniforms released today. I'll put the link in there. I didn't put it in this, but
what do you think? What do you think?
They look good. I like the trim a lot. We were talking about it earlier. I really like the trim. So they released the white ones.
Yeah.
The Holmes. I really like the trim. My biggest takeaway is I hope to God we still have the gold script, because nothing's going to beat those. Those are just the best jerseys.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a clean look. As you said kind of earlier, it's like a little bit more old-fashioned. Not old-fashioned,
they're
but
kind of reminiscent of the uniforms Drake wore last year with the way that the trim looks. It's just obviously white instead of blue.
I mean, obviously, it's not going to be a huge difference then.
No, I mean, it's the whites, it's the Holmes. And there's also a photo we talked about of a little bit further down on the basketball Twitter of Sturts and the blacks, which I assume are going to be the blacks we wear this year, and they look a little different than the normal blacks. They look more of like a blackout uniform, which is very cool. Yeah, but again, the gold script is my favorite. We better still have those.
I feel like they will.
Yeah, they're so popular with the fans. There's no way you get out of it.
Yeah.
And then also in the press conference, they were talking about just a quote from Sturts where somebody asked him about what Iowa's pace of play is expected to be. Because a big talking point with hiring McCollum is that how slow Drake played compared to how fast McCaffrey played, and how big of a drastic change it would be in just the pace of play at Iowa. And Sturt said that they won't play as slow as they did at Drake, but they'll play a lot faster just because we have more space, which I don't really know what that means. Just more talent. They're going to make more space, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was a big talking point where they talked about when McCollum played D2, right? Like that school, he did play a lot faster because it was like the competition. It was possible.
Like they could.
And like at Drake, it was, the way that they said he's a very adaptable coach. So,
which is good.
We'll see.
Because obviously, like, even going from Drake to Iowa is going to be a huge step. And we talked about it last week about like they're going to have a full Big Ten schedule now.
Yes.
So like there's a lot has to change from what he did at Drake.
Exactly.
Especially only having that one Big Ten player coming back.
And at the end of the day, basketball is an entertainment production, and slow basketball is a lot harder to sell than fast basketball. Like, say what you will about the results on the court, but McCaffrey's teams were always fun as hell to watch.
Hey, they'd put up 100 points, but they'd give up 90, 95.
Yeah, and it made for a very entertaining game.
Oh yeah, it was like the complete opposite of football games.
Yeah, I still think the most fun I've ever had watching. Okay, I think the most fun I've ever had watching a sporting event outside of Iowa football, I'm just going to take that off the table, is that Gold Cup final, Mexico-U.S. a few years ago, the man of the mirror match. But outside of that basketball game against Michigan State a few years ago, where we were down by like 15 or 20 going into the end of it, and we just hit like 9 threes in a row.
Was that the one where Fran was like staring down?
Yeah, it was the stare down started it, which was just phenomenal content on its own.
Oh yeah.
And then from the stare down, we went on an insane tear. It was so fun too, because it was like, it wasn't like a team collapse at the end of the game like it happens in basketball a lot. It was Michigan State made all of their free throws, and Iowa just couldn't miss a three. Yeah. Just they would dribble down the court, they would shoot in a half second, and they would just drill it. It was so fun.
That was literally like out of like a TV show of just like like just the stare down. Everyone's like, oh yeah, we're gonna win after that, and then they did.
I still watch the last few minutes of that game on YouTube at the start of like every basketball season. It's so
just
good.
Pumped you up.
Yeah, because the video literally starts with the stare down, and it's so funny because the announcer's like, "What's he doing over there?" And they're watching.
I can see it. And I'm just like, dude, what do you do if you're the ref? You're just like
the ref, like you could tell
he wasn't looking him in the eye. He was just like looking around him.
The ref, like you could tell, like he was about to tee him up when the assistant pulls him away, and like he turns his back, and you can tell the ref's like moving to tee him up, and then he's like, I can't tee him up to his back, and so he didn't get the tee, and then they went on an insane.
Hey, that's a good play by the ref, because he knew the second he turned his back, if he calls a tee, everyone's gonna be like, oh,
everyone's gonna lose their minds.
You're so soft. Like do it to his face.
Yeah, it was also strategic by the assistant coach. Pulled him away just in time.
I do respect the ref for just taking that. Most refs would have teed him up right away.
To be fair, I think the ref was confused as hell, just as everybody else was.
He was like, "Oh wait, is he like just staring at me?"
Yeah, and I think the ref also was like, "This is kind of funny."
Yeah, like he wasn't saying anything to him. He was just like staring
at him. It's so good. Okay,
gotta keep it going. We can talk.
Yeah, we
forever.
got a lot to get through. Shakeups in the AP poll. Honestly, not too many changes in the poll itself. Nebraska is in at 25, which is kind of shocking to me. Cincinnati in at 24, which is, I think we talked about, deserved. Florida State obviously out.
Yeah.
I hate to do this to you, but I saw a stat.
Okay.
Florida State has not won a conference game in 385 days as of Saturday.
Yeah, they just their defense
Over
is,
a year.
Their defense is nowhere to be seen.
It's just crazy that they start the year beating Alabama, but it's still been over a year since they win a conference game.
It's so weird because I've been watching their games, and
Yeah.
like they look good. Like
Yeah.
like it made like literally this last game that they lost, they had like I think 6 sacks and 2 interceptions, and yet the defense still gave up like 30 plus points or whatever. They look good,
Yeah.
and then they just lose.
There was a great comment on the post game thread for that one where it's like there's 4 tiers of college football that you can play, and one is losing big, losing small, winning big. And they're like, losing big is where Florida State was last year. Losing small is where they're at this year. So that's an improvement. And then the top reply was like, there's also a 5th tier called beating Alabama, and that's where they were 4 weeks ago.
Dude, it's just so funny because like I want to say I'm a fan, but
Yeah.
like I can't be like, oh, like I didn't go there. It just through like my fiance, so I'm like, your highs and lows are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you go undefeated and then you practically go winless, then you beat Alabama, and then you can't beat like fucking nobody team. Like
Compared to Iowa, whose low is 7-5 and whose high is 11-1.
yeah, we're just steady. I don't know which one's better.
I really don't.
Because every year, like that's like kind of going back to the expectations. Like every year, Florida State expects to be in the playoff.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
No matter how bad they
Yeah.
are, like they expect to be in the playoff.
Yeah, which definitely we don't.
We're happy to be there. We're happy to get our wins against some good opponents.
We're
Which I
usually
will
happy
take.
with a good bowl game.
Yeah.
I would love to go further.
Honestly, we would have gotten to the playoff quite a few times
In the past 15 years,
yeah.
that there was the 12 team.
Yeah, we would have been there.
That's a very good point. Other game, we talked about UCLA. Indiana beats number 3 Oregon 30-20. Indiana moves up to number 3. They're number 1 in the power rankings of the Big Ten this year on the Reddit power rankings that we've talked about a few times.
Does this show like the promise that Iowa has that they
they
could have, and I think they should have beat Indiana, and then
Yes.
Indiana goes and beats Oregon
So that was one of the things I wanted to talk about, is specifically that we almost beat Indiana. We should have beat Indiana.
Literally,
Indiana,
my Indiana like friend was just like, "Oh no, y'all should have like if Gronowski doesn't go out, like y'all should have won that."
And I mean, Indiana looks legitimate. Like they look like a compete with Miami, Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama team. We definitely held our own, and it makes me feel,
it was at home, but
Yes.
still, like the talent wise,
it makes me feel like this team might be better than we think. And I think that this blowout winning against Wisconsin, like we talked about, we didn't see it as a blowout going into it. I think that kind of helped solidify this, where I'm not ready to scream it from the rafters yet, but this is a very sneaky good Iowa team.
Yeah.
And I think that we don't feel like it is because we did start out so slow. And like we've talked about though, Gronowski has gotten like markedly improved every week.
Yeah.
And I think if he can play to the best of his ability, like this is a team with like a legitimate shot at doing something this season. And that's why it sucks so bad that we lost to Indiana.
Yeah. And it just sucks even more now that we lost to Iowa State.
And Iowa State, they also lost
to,
this week to Colorado.
So that's 2 in a row for them.
24-12. They dropped 2, which I talked about this earlier in the year. I have over 7.5 on them, like we talked about, because I accidentally bet it thinking it was Iowa. If they fucking beat us and they don't win 8 games, I am declaring war on Ames and Matt Campbell. I will get him fired myself. I will start the campaign. God damn it! You don't get to beat us and lose my bet. That's fucking bullshit.
I mean, yeah, looking at our schedule, we have quality. Because before we were like, all right, our quality opponents were Oregon and Indiana and Penn State. But now it's looking like the Penn State. I don't know if you want to get into it yet.
We can go. Yeah, let's go for it. Penn State, I was talking to my brother about this.
It almost feels...
It sucks because this has gone from a game where it's like,
all right, we
probably aren't going to win. Maybe we'll have a shot. Maybe we'll pull off something special.
If we play well,
this would be a bad loss. This is now a must-win game. If we want to have a legitimate conversation to do something with this season. Okay, and the other good thing about this is we talked about it at the Indiana game. For us to really, if we want to have a shot of making the playoff, we have to beat at least Penn State or Oregon, probably both. Penn State's now looking a lot easier to do that, and if you win out at this point, you're still probably a playoff team.
I think you are, because you have USC's now ranked, and then Nebraska's now ranked.
Yes.
Obviously,
and Iowa State's not a bad loss. Indiana, obviously not a bad loss. I think if we win out, that it at least has a high contention for a good bubble team.
I think if we win out, we make it.
I think we could lose it to Notre Dame.
Well, I think if we went out, we get it from recency bias of like,
Yeah,
all right,
how
you
well
the
we ended
last
the
like
year.
the last 5 weeks you beat a top Oregon team, a ranked USC team, and a ranked Nebraska team.
Yeah.
And you haven't lost in like at that point like 8 weeks. Like I think at that point they would 100% make it.
The thing is now though, if we lose to Penn State, that is officially the end of the season. Even if you beat Oregon, I don't think you're getting there.
No.
It is literally, this has become a trap game. It's at home. It's
they have their backup quarterback.
They have their backup quarterback.
Like, their season's done.
Yes.
They're just fired their coach. I literally, that's the first thing I thought of. Now that I was like, oh, this is somehow now a trap game for Iowa.
It is. So this is something that when I was talking to my brother about it, he was like, you should put this as a stat in the podcast, see if you can find it. What teams' records are the week after firing their coach, because he's like, I feel like they always perform pretty well. I couldn't find it for college because I think with like D2, D3, and like the lower tiers, it's a lot to keep track of. I found it for the NFL. So the NFL since 2003, teams that fired their coach in the very following week are 17-21 straight up, 22-16 against the spread. Which if your coach is getting fired, you're probably less than under 500. So like that's a market improvement.
Yeah.
There was also a stat that last year in like at least Power 5 college football teams that fired their coach, they had like a 25% winning percentage before firing, and they finished with an average of 65%. Obviously, we saw it with UCLA this year. They did lose the first game immediately after firing their coach, but then they got this new OC and stepped up.
I'm worried because I'm like, worried. Oh, because it does suck. It almost makes watching the game worse because before it's like, oh, we do well. I'm gonna be excited.
It was
we're
like
beating a good team.
Yeah, it was like,
but
Indiana.
Now it's like, oh, they pretty much have everyone that made them national title contenders.
Mm-hmm.
But now, besides like obviously their QB is like the main person.
You have a national championship caliber team that you are expected to beat.
Yeah, and I know you don't have Drowler. I get it, but like.
And again, I will also say we should be expected to beat them with the performance they put down on the field, not having a head coach or their starting quarterback. We should be expected to beat them. It doesn't mean that it's not a tough spot to beat.
Yeah, because with both of those people, they still lost to Northwestern
and UCLA.
UCLA. Northwestern being the bigger one.
So their interim coach, his name's.
I love shitting on Northwestern.
Penn State's interim coach, his name's Terry Smith, former star wide receiver from like the 80s, I think it was. I didn't write it down. He was hired in 2014 by Franklin. He was brought in as the cornerbacks coach and the defensive recruiting coordinator. Promoted to assistant head coach in 2016, and then in 2021 promoted to associate head coach, which I don't understand the fucking difference.
The difference, assistant, associate.
Yeah, it's just a different word. They both start with AS. They both start with ass. During his press conference, he said that Franklin's firing was a shock to the staff, which I think it was kind of a shock to everybody.
Yeah.
Not that it was like completely unexpected, but I don't think anybody expected it this week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, to do it, as we said earlier, like to do it that fast, it's like, it's going to be a shock to anyone.
Ridiculous. And then also Drew Aller out for the season, a lower leg injury.
Do you
on the
think
final
that,
drive
do you think that went into it? Because they're like, oh, the season's done.
That I do.
I feel like it's like, all right, you're like star QB's now out for the year.
What do you have to play?
You just lost. Like even if they won out, I don't know if they probably don't get in. But at the same time, they're like, oh, like
unless UCLA goes on that tear like we talked about, then maybe.
Yeah, then maybe. But like, I think that was also like, oh, the writing's on the wall. You just you lost the team a little bit because you lost to Northwestern, but then now you lost your starting QB.
Mm-hmm. So the first thing Franklin did after the game, he went to the press conference, and the first thing he said was that Aller is out for the season. They haven't specified what the injury is, just a lower leg injury, and I believe he's done. I doubt he gets a medical red shirt out of this, right?
Yeah, and he'll
6
probably
games.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if he could have gone to the NFL last year. Which is what sucks for him.
And I think his draft stock dropped a lot this year.
Yeah,
just. Obviously, those last 2 games, and then an injury also.
I mean, yeah,
always hurts your
he was
stock.
13 for 20 for 137 yards and an interception against Northwestern before he got injured.
And then, per interim coach Terry Smith's press conference yesterday, I think his press conference was, he just said no update. All he knows right now is he's out for the season. They haven't announced anything else, which does bring us to the backup quarterback, who is Ethan Grunkmeyer. Ethan Grunkmeyer.
I didn't even realize he didn't even play, and I guess he got injured. Oh, he got injured.
It was the last drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
The backup didn't even play.
He did play, but I think they handed it off once or twice. And it was a
Ethan
4th down stop.
Grunkmeyer, 1 carry for 0 yards.
Okay, yeah, it was a 4th down stop with him, and that was the end of the game.
Yeah, he went in versus Nevada, went 7 for 9.
Yeah, so on the year he's 8 for 11, 105 yards and a touchdown, but that's against not good teams.
Yeah, he played against Nevada and Villanova, and then technically Northwestern, but not really.
Yeah.
Against Villanova, he was 1 for 2 for 19 yards and a touchdown.
So the touchdown was in the game. He was 1 for 2.
Yeah.
And 7 for 9, 86 against Nevada. That's better, but it's Nevada.
He did have a rushing touchdown, but again, yeah, it's Nevada and Villanova.
He's a sophomore, 4-star out of Ohio. That's the thing. At the end of the day, this is Penn State, and yes, your starting quarterback is out, but you're at Penn State. You have a good backup quarterback.
Yeah,
like you just do.
He's unproven, but he's gonna have talent.
Yes,
and that's what I hope the Iowa defense is like. I feel like the Iowa defense is good about like, oh, you have a lot of talent. We're still gonna we're gonna make you throw it. We're gonna make we're gonna put pressure on you to make plays. And if you make plays, good for you. If you don't, we're gonna intercept it. Or
I think the other scary part of this though is making this a trap game. This is his chance to step up and be like, yeah, I'm gonna show everybody like what I can do. Like I'm either gonna go into next year, I'm gonna be Penn State starting quarterback, or I'm gonna be a really elusive transfer. Like this is his shot, and that's scary.
But that is scary. I just need this is where Iowa fans need to step up. They need to come in and make sure this dude cannot hear a thing.
If you're in the stadium this week, I'll be there. Make sure you're yelling. Also, it is a stripe game. I will put in the link dump will be the seating chart if you're looking for it. Make sure you wear the right colors. It's the Spirit game. Don't fuck it up. Make it look good on TV.
Yeah.
Because it's an intimidating environment when we coordinate.
That's the one thing that's making me feel a little bit better about it. It is a night game.
It is a night game at Kinnick. It is the stripe game. Yes.
Do I even talk shit to my buddies? I feel like I don't. I feel too bad
because you have everything to lose and nothing to gain.
I also feel bad and I hope you guys do okay. I hope we win, obviously, but sorry.
Sorry. I put in here also just fun fact. Their third string Jackson Smolik or whatever. He's a 3-star out of Dowling, and he was from Van Meter, which is the town right next to the town I grew up in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I saw he went to. They said a 3-star out of West Des Moines, and I was like, oh, I wonder what school. I assumed it was maybe Valley. And I looked it up, and I was like, Dowling makes sense. And they put from Van Meter, and I was like, oh, holy shit, that's crazy. Then Smith had a press conference today, or yesterday that I talked about. One of his quotes in here is a little scary. He said, if we lose, it's going to be because the team that beat us it's going to be because the team beat us and they were just better. We won't answer questions about how we lost the last 3 games. There is not one of those teams that we could arguably say was better than us, including Oregon.
Damn.
Which is basically him saying that
we still have a better team.
Yes. And we lost those games despite being the better team, and we're not going to lose this game unless Iowa's a better team.
Yeah.
Which is that's the thing that I'm worried about is just
that's a good response.
It's
a
very good response. And it's just like that, making your guys rally around the interim coach, like we talked about with UCLA, is a scary thing because
that's why I just need right off the bat. I need honestly.
I need a 2017 pick 6 first play of the game. Ohio State.
I need Penn State to get the ball first.
Yes,
I don't want Iowa to touch the ball.
I want it coming out of halftime.
I want Penn State to touch it first, and I just want this QB to be rattled.
Yes.
I want him to go in and just the lights are too big for him.
Ideally, I want Penn State to have the ball, and I want them starting in the north end zone. And I want them backed up in the north end zone, and I want it loud.
Yeah.
That is our best.
That's how
we 2017 went.
Exactly.
It was exactly how that end zone had just opened. They started up deep in the north end zone. It was loud and
they
just
couldn't get the play off. Yeah. No, that's how we win this game. Is just coming out I literally we cannot give any momentum to this guy.
You as a fan this week are more important than Mark Gronowski.
Yes. More important than his legs.
We are all the 23rd man. I hope
I'm nervous, but I'm excited nervous.
I'm excited. It just sucks that this game has turned into a must-win game.
Yeah. And I hate that we're favored.
We're favored. Iowa -2.5, -118. Over under 39.5. We didn't talk about this earlier. Iowa also Iowa made the over on their own against Wisconsin last week. The over was 34.5 or something.
Is that the first time we've done that in 10 years?
It's got it. Except for maybe one of those FCS teams. Yeah. Maybe we ran it up on one of them, but
hitting the over just ourselves
against Wisconsin.
Crazy. No, literally all I was doing during I was working the game, and every time I looked up and Iowa scored, and I'm like, oh, look at that, 17 points in one quarter from Iowa.
Yeah. The stands were just empty too. It was so funny.
Yeah, because all of the people I work with are Ohio State or Cincinnati,
Just
like
constantly giving you shit about
yeah,
it.
they're just like I'm always like Michigan State, like I'm always just getting shit about.
Are there
like,
Wisconsin fans there?
There was one, Tony Granado, who was like a hockey Hall of Famer.
Okay.
He played at Wisconsin. He coached at Wisconsin. I didn't talk to him about it. I'm gonna have to talk to him about it now. Tony's like the nicest guy ever.
He's gonna say get on the ice.
Well,
he's gonna drop the gloves.
No, he's like one of our talent.
Yeah.
And no, he's like the nicest guy ever. That's why I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
like,
not gonna rub it in.
I would have said something, but like they pregame they like talk with us and like the talent and like go over stuff, and like after that during the game they go down and like watch it and like in the studio. So I didn't really have a chance to talk shit to him.
Yeah, that's
so
fair.
maybe what is it? What's the next game? Next time I see him, I'll give him some shit. Like, what happened?
Speaking of how few people were there, did you see the Oklahoma State game this week? The dude in the
stands. Yeah, he like started a whole thing.
Yeah. So there's one dude in the stand shirtless, swinging a shirt, and he is in a section all by his lonesome. There is nobody there because the stadium's 40% full at best. And then there's like a clip later of like one other dude standing with them swinging their shirts, and then there's 4 dudes, and then there's a row, and it just slowly fills up until there's like 2.5 sections of just shirtless men swinging their shirts in the air in like the top corner of the stadium because it was the empty section. It's so funny.
That was awesome.
I will put that in the link dump too. It's absolutely worth watching. It's so fun. Someone was like, this has to be like a new tradition at Oklahoma State.
Oh yeah.
And it'd be so funny too to like
one guy started it.
Imagine like 6 years from now, like they get back to where they were. They're like in a college football playoff game. There's a bunch of shirtless dude in one section swinging their shirt, and they're like, fun fact to where this started. Yeah. They come back to like Oklahoma State. They're not winning a game.
They're gonna find that guy who started it.
Yeah. They got to build him a statue. Can you imagine a statue of him with his shirt over his head?
That'd be awesome.
The stadium? That'd be amazing.
That'd be awesome. Did we get through everything?
I think we covered everything. I guess we didn't really talk about big games this week outside of ours.
Oh, yeah.
Ole Miss, Georgia. Obviously a big game. Speaking of Georgia, did you see Clapgate also?
No.
You didn't see that?
No.
Oh, it's crazy. It's so... Georgia game. Kirby Smart is going... It's like the play clock's running out. It's like about to be delay a game. And Kirby Smart goes down the sideline to the ref, and he's going like this, and he's yelling timeout. And they give him the timeout, and then he like gets up in the ref's face. And it's unclear whether he was telling the ref, no, I wasn't calling a timeout. Okay. I was just clapping. Or if he's telling the ref, I'm calling a timeout to yell at you because they're clapping and simulating a snap count, which should be a penalty. He's doing one of those two things. And the ref takes it as, oh, I wasn't calling a timeout, I was just clapping. So they give him the timeout back, and they like reset the play clock and let them run a play. So he got like a free timeout, and everyone was like livid about it, obviously. Yeah. And the part they were really mad about is when he came into the press conference, they asked him about it, and like that was his opportunity to be like, oh, it was just a miscommunication. Yeah. I was just trying to say they're simulating the snap count. He thought like he heard this, and like I didn't realize what he'd said until it had already happened, and it was too late for me to correct him. And instead he went in and he was like, no, I was just clapping. And everyone was like, he's clearly not clapping. You are mouthing the words timeout as you're running down the sideline.
Hey, he was saving his ass. He was like, hey, I was clapping.
Yeah.
That's what the ref said too.
It's very funny though, because the way like the motion he does too is he's going down like this. He's going like timeout where he is kind of like hitting the palm, but he's clearly
going towards the ref.
Yeah,
too.
And yelling timeout. And then the second he gets the timeout, he starts going like this, immediately going to the clapping. Like
hey, maybe that's the way the coaches got to do it now. that's just 200 IQ from him.
It really is. Yeah, people are very livid that he wasn't like honest with the ref and like, no, I called the timeout. But like, I think that would have won the game anyway. I don't think that was like a playmaking or like a difference making play.
We got Battle of the Mormons.
That's true. We do.
Utah versus
the Holy War. Is that the Holy War? I don't remember which one's the Holy War.
I have no idea. That's actually hilarious. It's called the Holy War.
One of them is. I think it's this one.
But that's Utah, right? Utah University.
Yeah, BYU Utah, the Holy War.
That's really funny.
They don't get to call it that anymore on the broadcast. They got instructed to not call it that anymore.
That's funny.
It's such a good rivalry name. Yeah.
The Holy War. BYU Utah, the Battle of the Mormons. Well, actually, would it be BYU or the Mormons and Utah are the?
I think they're both Mormon,
regular folk.
Aren't they just both Mormon?
Well, I'm gonna look it up. 36% is Mormon. Let's look at BYU. BYU's got to be like I bet it's lower than you actually think. I bet 68 is my guess.
At BYU, it's 100%.
Oh, it's 100%.
You have to be Mormon to go there.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just like a stigma.
No, it's required to be part of the church to go there. I'm pretty sure. There's like very rare exceptions.
I thought it was gonna be like, I know I said 68, but I thought it was just me overthinking.
I'm sure a lot of them are in the church to go there and not actually like religious per se, but like officially there it's all you have to be Mormon.
Well, I'll say I thought there was like a Jewish person that went there.
There's probably there's probably some exceptions.
Because I think there was a QB. Yeah, the QB is Jewish. Jake or Aslif.
I wonder if you can be Jewish and part of the Latter-day Saints church somehow. If you like.
Yeah, the QB that transferred to Tulane this year. He was. I knew that from somewhere. I was like, I think they have like a prominent Jewish guy.
I don't know. I'm sure there's like some stipulations. Yeah. Maybe something about like Judaism is allowed.
I love the AI overview. The Jewish population at BYU is very small, with sources from late 2024 to early 2025 stating there are likely between 3 and 6 Jewish students. For example,
3 and 6 is crazy. Out of what's their student population, do you think?
Including their, it's just funny that including like their starting quarterback.
Their quarterback is one of 3. Potentially. We don't know. We don't have the official numbers. Anywhere up to 6. Well, that's where Zach Wilson went, right?
Yeah.
Because that's why it was such a big deal that he was banging moms. Because he was like, you're not allowed to do any banging.
No, the funniest one, it's like it's a Bears player. Not Dick Butkus.
Oh, like because of his post-university endeavors?
Yeah. like I was like, oh my God, no. Why am I blanking? Mike Ditka. Dick Butkus, Mike Ditka. Okay. That's right. That's
okay.
I'm pretty sure Mike Ditka went to BYU. Watch me be wrong in this whole like thing I just talked about. It makes no sense. College, Pittsburgh. God damn it.
I'll cut it. It's fine.
Oh, Jim McMahon. That's what it was. I knew it was a Bears. Bears player.
Yeah, quarterback.
And Jim McMahon's kind of known as a dick. I was like, how does that guy? What does Jim McMahon?
I think a lot of people who go to BYU for football are not very. I don't think they necessarily believe in Joseph Smith, or is that who it is, right? Joseph Smith.
So.
Well, any closing thoughts on Wisconsin or this week? Anything before we wrap up?
I kind of think we've talked about it. Yeah, just I'm not trying to think too much about the fact that we're favored. I'm just going to go into being like, oh, like you don't expect to beat a team of that caliber.
Yeah,
even without.
Just reset my brain to previous expectations and then be really excited if we do it.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're at 14-0. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What? Like, no, I'm going into it not thinking. I'm just not going to think about like.
Yeah.
I think we could win. I think we could lose. So like,
But also isolating that thought for a second. This is for this season. This is a must-win game.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not. Well, I will not shy away from saying
fun.
that.
I'm going to try to have fun while watching. I'm not going to
enjoy this must-win game.
Yes.
Check out our website, fishballsports.com/Hawks-Off-Melrose. That'll be where you'll find the link dump. The link to there will be in the description on whatever podcast service you're listening to. All of our socials are at Hawks-Off-Melrose. Check us out everywhere. We never really talked about this, but if you're listening on Spotify, wherever you're listening to, rate us 5 stars. That does very much help us.
Oh yeah.
If you're listening on Spotify, or honestly, if you're listening to anywhere and your podcast streaming software has an option to download our episodes when they come out, hit that button because that also helps us. If you download and listen to us, that counts as 2 views. So don't be afraid to use the download button. Set the auto downloads. Yeah.
We all have a lot of space on our phones.
Yeah, exactly. And they auto delete after. You can set it to either be like 1 week or 3 weeks. Yeah. So it just downloads and then undeletes. And you can set it to only do it on Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Just helps us out a little bit.
No qualms,
Hawkeye to Hawkeye.
Yeah, exactly. I'm Drew.
I'm Jeremy.
Our links to our socials will also be in that link dump. This is Hawks Off Melrose. Week 8. We'll be back next week.
Yeah.
Talk about Penn State and looking ahead.
Cool. See you next week.
See ya.